very much for inviting me down here today. We were here a couple of weeks ago because I wanted to do something very different on International Women's Day. So our office thought about it and we thought, what better place to have a shadow cabinet meeting on International Women's Day than in Dagenham to applaud the women who took strike action to gain equal pay at Ford during the strikes in 1968 and 74. And we had that discussion here, and I'm very grateful to your council for facilitating that. I want to say thank you to Unmesh for what he just said. I've known him for a very long time as somebody who's always stood up when it counted on racism, on justice, on equality, and all those things that brought our party into being and is in our very DNA about what we want to achieve in this city and in this country. We're faced with an election for London Mayor and for the London Assembly. That election is actually very, very important. I represent a London constituency, and yesterday, like I do all the time, I had my constituency advice bureau. This one lasted for just over 6 hours of talking to people of their problems. Parents coming to me in tears because they've got 3 children, big teenage children, squeezed into one bedroom. Unable to study, one gets a cold, they all get a cold. All the stress and tension that goes with that. And their possibility of moving is very limited because they can't afford to buy, they can't afford a private rent, there is a shortage of council housing. They are the victims of the free market housing economy in London, which is so damaging to so many of our communities. And therefore, I am very keen that we fight this election campaign to win it. But it's not to win it for the individuals. It's not for Sadiq, it's not for Unmesh, it's not for me. It's for what we will do and make sure is done for the people of London. Yeah. We need more housing in London. Decent, good quality, affordable housing in London. Permanent tenancies of council housing in London. Not what this government is proposing, which is pay to stay or the selling off of the more valuable properties. In my own borough, that would amount to 6,000 flats being sold. 6,000 being sold in a borough that already has, like every London borough, enormous housing stress. We need that to go. We need instead investment in housing. We need regulation of the private rented sector. We need to end the social cleansing of whole parts of London, which is what this market economy and housing bubble for the wealthy is doing to our city. Secondly, the issues of air pollution. I raised these with the Prime Minister on Wednesday in Prime Minister's Question Time because I wanted to do that. Because it cannot be right that children growing up, living alongside the major traffic arteries of London, have 10% less lung capacity than other children growing up elsewhere. Who lives alongside the major traffic arteries in London other than the children of the poorest? Pollution knows no bounds, but it has a more intense effect in certain places. We need a mayor. We need Sadiq as mayor, to somebody that's going to take real action to control air pollution in London, to bring us a cleaner and better city. And when I raised these issues with the Prime Minister, he doesn't seem to be his number one subject, actually, because all he could remember was the 1956 Clean Air Act, which is actually before he was born. We have to move on a bit. But his government is, instead of accepting the law that Parliament itself passed on air quality and emanated from Europe on air quality, instead is spending hundreds of thousands of pounds of our money defending the indefensible in court. I told him, put that money into clean air, put that money into protecting our environment, not protecting the polluters. Surely that is a message we can get out there today. So we have a huge campaign on. This week, the budget, what was that budget about? Added up to 5 years of every target George Osborne set for himself has not been met. Every promise he made has not been held to. Every time he says the solution is 5 years away, that 5 years always starts next year. So whenever the 5 years is on, it's always about 6 years away. So do the maths and you'll realise we've got a long haul so long as he remains in office. Ian Duncan Smith proposed that we cut, and Osborne proposed as well, that we cut the Independent Living Fund, which has already happened, that we cut the personal independence payments, which is now about to happen, £1 billion being taken from the very poorest and most vulnerable people who experience disabilities, but under the legislation that Labour introduced, would have a greater opportunity of independent living, to study, to work, to live more normal lives. Everybody can do something in their lives. Everybody can contribute in their lives. We need a society that's big enough and strong enough to say, whatever your disability, we will support you in order to achieve the very best you can in your life. What do the Tories propose? Taking it away and consigning those people to a much less fulfilling life. Ian Duncan Smith resigned last night. I think some other resignations ought to follow. And that is the message we're putting out. So we beat them when they tried to cut working tax credits. We beat them on Sunday trading. We've beaten them twice this week on the trade union bill. And we are going to win on defending the personal independence payments. But we're also going to win in winning London for Labour. A Labour mayor, Labour members of the authority, so we can build those houses, we can clean that air, we can create a London that works for all, not the few. Go for it, get those votes. Thank you very much.